How's it going, guys? The voting is now open for the next Warno ranked seasons maps. So in this video, I'll be giving you a brief explanation of how the voting system works, and then I'll be going through the 23 maps you have to choose from and explaining which ones are good, which ones are bad, which ones benefit certain types of play, and then I'll be showing you how I do my votes, and you can just copy me, and then I get the maps I want to play. So let's just start off with the reading, the words. So yeah, as we head into the festive season, we wanted to share what's coming next for ranked mode. Here's everything you need to know during the holidays. Plenty to think about while you enjoy your well-deserved break. End of Season 3. Season 3 of Ranked will conclude on January 6th, 2026, coinciding with the release of Nemesis 5. So the new Nemesis DLC with the Spanish div and the Czech div will be coming out on January 6th. It's worth noting that the NDA for this drops, I think, this Saturday. Not 100% sure on that. We're allowed to say when the NDA drops. I believe it's on Saturday at 4 p.m. UK time. But I'll double check. It'll be a pinned comment if it's not the case, and I'll be covering those decks in great detail at that time. Of course, channel members will also get access to some gameplay at the same time. Everybody else can wait 24 hours and then it'll come out. Obviously, they don't get it before the NDA drops because Eugen know my full name and address and they'll murder me. A reset will take place on the same day, marking the official beginning of Season 4. To honour your achievements, just like last season, the top 20 will be permanently displayed on our Discord server, a testament to the season's finest performers and a record of your tactical excellence. We'll also do our best to display statistics for all players from Season 3, giving everyone a chance to review their performance. So I'm not really a huge fan of them resetting the ranked ladder like this. I know it makes people play ranked more, particularly right before the reset and right after the reset. There's going to be loads of people playing ranked to try and boost their rating. So I guess it works from that perspective. But generally what it means is after the reset, I get matched against rank 5000 as soon as I hit search because we're now the same rank, and I beat the snot out of him. And then he never plays ranked again. So I don't really think it's a great idea, but it seems popular, so I guess that's the way it is. Season 4, your map's your choice. Since last season, we've significantly expanded our map pool, growing from 13 to 23 available maps. These are 1v1 maps, I believe. This season, we're increasing the rotation accordingly from 8 maps to 12 maps of your personal favourites. So, yeah, I mean, this is something I keep sort of harping on about. Sadly, I didn't get my way this time. But essentially, they're growing the map pool, that's great. But I just think it's really strange that we don't get to play on... Because there's 23 1v1 maps, right? Why do I only get to play 12 of them for the next 6 months in Ranked? What is the purpose of that? The only argument I've heard in favour of it is it helps new players, right? There's 53 divisions in the game. By the time this happens, there'll be 55. That means that there's 55 times 55 possible matchups. That's 3,025 possible matchups when you click that ranked button, right? How many units are in the game? There's 2,233 units in the game. That's going to be closer to 2,300 when those 2 divisions get added in January 6th. So you can have 3,025 matchups with 2,300 units, but you're only allowed to play on 12 maps of the 23. Why? I'm still going to beat the new player, alright? The new player, he's still going to lose. What, is he going to feel good about it if he can only play half the maps? Either way, at least it's working in the right direction. It would be great to get a vote on this issue, right? How many maps do you want in the rank pool? I think that would be nice. Anyway, how does the voting work for the maps? One problem at a time. The voting system has been redesigned to fully reflect your preferences. Instead of simply selecting 4 maps, you'll now rank your 12 favourite maps in order of preference out of 23. That's why you need to watch this video. This ranking system gives us a clearer picture of what you'll actually want to play, ensuring the rotation truly represents the community's voice. For full details on how to cast your vote and the complete voting mechanics, head over to our voting site. Everything is explained there. The voting's open till January 4th. I recommend doing it while you watch this video or right after, because otherwise you're just going to forget. So this is this link, right? And it says, rank them in order from your top pick to your least preferred, rating only your 12 favourite maps. The others don't need to be rated, they'll all get 0 after the 12th place. The 12 most popular overall will be in the pool. So this is randomized every time, right? So if I hit F5 here, Taladuel's not at the top anymore, right? So that's random every time. That's a really good idea, because I've done polls like this in the past, and whatever the default ordering is what wins, because people only rank a couple and then they just kind of forget. So, or they don't understand how it works. Unfortunately, that people, I don't know, sniffing too much glue, right? Too many microplastics in my balls. So basically, the map you want the most, you put at the top, and anything you don't want, you put after 12, because they will all get 0. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to briefly go through every single one of these maps and just tell you, or show you what it is, first of all, just refresh your memory, and also tell you if it's a very imbalanced map, right? Discuss my thoughts on it, and then I'll vote myself. So we'll start with Stoneware Duel. I really like Stoneware Duel. Some people say it's like sided. I don't really think it is. Don't understand where that comes from. But I'll just show you Stoneware Duel briefly, right? Probably do a cut here, right? So this is Stoneware Duel, and basically there's 2 middle points, Center and Boris, centered around these towns, and there's also 4 back points, and these are +2s: Anna, Dmitri, Fedor, and Elena. So I really like this map. It's got open spaces for tanks. The urban fighting, you can really get some armored vehicles in, right, and do some shooting, right? You can get here and shoot down that way. You can get here and shoot down that way. I guess my side is probably the side most people prefer in that case, because you've got a nice time in center. But overall, I think this is one of the, because you can see down both the roads, basically. Overall, I think this is one of the most balanced maps in the pool. Generally, it ends up being a fight for Center and Boris, but you can also sneak stuff around the sides to attack Fedor here, right? And if you get somebody in here, you can fight this way. If you're on the other side, basically securing Boris is all about this forest here. So if the red side gets up to this forest, then you lose Boris, right? So I guess the red side is probably the side most people think is strongest. They might be right, but I think in terms of imbalanced maps, I don't think this is a very imbalanced map. And yeah, so if you're on this side, you can see down that road, and you can sort of work your way up this side, right? Work your way through this forest so that you can shoot people as they come into the zone. That's the main idea. Smooth brains just get into the zone and they fight from this side of the zone to this side. Giga brain channel joiners fight around the sides, because if you cut the enemy reinforcement, like if I'm on the blue side, and this is the blue side now, and I get to here, well then you're not getting in here anymore, and then I'm gonna win the zone, right? So I really like this map. So I would like to see it next season. Should I have it top? No, but I'll just leave it there for now. Taladuel. So Taladuel's another one of the new ones. And I think this one's pretty good as well. I think we're off to a strong start with the randomization. So it's this one, and this also allows for a mix of armored play and infantry play, right? So you can fight with infantry through here, and you've got these nice open spaces to use ATGMs and stuff. Tanks like T-72s really do dominate on this map, because it tends to be fairly close range engagements, where the T-72 not having the max range gun doesn't matter anymore, and what matters more is having armor. And so, yeah, T-72 is really nice on this map. Chieftains, pretty decent on this map. Smooth brains like to basically just set up here and here, and then just fight over this for the whole game, and like literally don't leave this square, or maybe this. Giga Chads obviously use the flanking routes, and they attack Fedor and Gregory, depending on what side you're on, and they pressure Anna and Boris through control of this forest, depending on what side you're on, right? And that you can also fight down this lane. I really like this map. I think this is a really good map. So we're off to a strong start. I'd actually say it's better than Stoneware Duel. Omen Duel, so this is another recent one. This one is like practically symmetrical. So you've really not got much to complain about, but people still do. I really like this map. I like it more than the last. There are maps I don't like, don't worry, we'll get to those. Yeah, I like this map. I think it's literally symmetrical, bro. But some people say certain sides are better than others. This side gets a nice church, which helps you here. I'm not sure which side people say is better, but basically, Smooth Brains just fight over Boris. Everybody else, you're fighting down this road, right? You're fighting over Dimitri here. You're fighting over Gregory here. Really nice map. Really nice map. I like this one a lot. So we'll rank that above the other two. Then we've got Factory Duel. So Factory Duel has never been in the ranked pool. And I think that's a shame. I would like to see Factory. I would like to play this map that they've made. Wouldn't that be nice, right? Rather than being artificially restricted. Wouldn't that be crazy? Imagine if you paid for all the divisions in the game, and then they said, well, you just can't play half of them this season, come back in 6 months. That's literally what's happened. You have paid for all these maps, and you're not being allowed to play on half of them, just arbitrarily. Anyway, so this was made a while ago and never put into the ranked pool, and that's because some babbies complained about, ooh, it's too wide. People really need to lighten up a little bit. Tournaments is where you can prove your skill. Ranked is just for chilling out. So, or for getting mad at RNG. So basically, cool map. It's really good for divisions like 152 easy, KDA. The Polish divs do really well, like the Airborne div does really well here. Because the coffin launchers, 9th US, super good on this map. And the idea is you fight over Boris, and there's also these massive flanking routes. And you just put a cheap vehicle here to cover that, and a cheap vehicle here to cover this. But people, they don't like the width of the maps. They don't like it because they're like, what if they get around me? And it's, come on, that's what dispersed forces are for, right? Even if you're a narrow div like 39Y, you just put BMP1PG there, 40 points. Another 40 points. So that's 80, 120, 160. Oh, for less than 200 points, I've just protected my entire flanks from wraparound attacks. Incredible. And so I really want to play this map. I want to play it. I've played it in a couple tournaments, but I would love to play it in ranked. They made this map, and then I'm not allowed to play it. So I'm going to vote for this at the top. I want this to be at the top because I want to play it more than I want to play these. Next, we have Isor Duel. Now we're getting to the maps I don't really like. Looks like it was a short list. Anyway, Isor Duel is one of the most imbalanced maps I've ever seen. Oh, they've changed the ambience to nighttime by default, it seems. So, what's wrong with this map? If you're on the red side, right, so just a brief thing. So, red gets Fedor, Elena, Gregory, and Chariton. Blue gets Boris, Center, Anna, and Dimitri. So the main point of contention is like here. Very narrow map, kind of hard to get around. So what's up with this map? If you're on this side over here, let's call that the blue side, I get this at the start of the game, right? So I just put an ATGM in here, and now you can't get into your zone from this side. And then I put an ATGM in here, and now you can't get into your zone from this side. And that's supposed to be your zone. It's a hilariously imbalanced map. The best way to fix it would be to get this tree line and just extend it up to here, up to this road. And then they could hide in the trees on their zone. And it would also mean that, this wouldn't be able to shoot down there because the trees would block it. Same with this. The trees here would block it. And that would fix a lot of problems. But I don't know, you can't really blame Eugen for this. Well, I suppose you can. They don't seem very willing to change maps once they've made them. And when I had the ability to tell them before this came out, I just didn't know. So anyway, very, very imbalanced map. Very imbalanced map. So as much as I actually find it reasonably enjoyable to play because it's kind of challenging if you're on the bad side, it is a very imbalanced map. So if I'm forced to pick 12 out of 23, Isor Duel is going out of the top 12. The next one is Valley Duel. So we were talking about how Isor Duel is an imbalanced map. Valley Duel is even worse. Valley Duel is hilariously imbalanced. It is the second most imbalanced map in the game. Sorry, I keep alt-tabbing. So if you're on this side, let's call it the blue side, okay? In Elena, you get some trees. You get this nice fallback position. Sorry, brief overview of the map. Two back zones, Dimitri and Boris for me. Two back zones for Red, Gregory and Fedor, and then three middle zones, Elena, Center, and Anna. It's cool in that there's a mix of places to fight. Like, this is super open, this is kind of urban/open, and this is a forest fight. So it's cool that they're all in there. I like the map. The zones... Well, the map is very imbalanced, basically. And that's because, let's say I'm on this side, the blue side, right? Elena. So I get all these houses, okay? I get this really nice fallback position. I get this position to shoot ATGMs in. I get stuff like this to shoot ATGMs in, right? What does my opponent get? You know, fallback position here for me. What does my opponent get? He gets a big open field, right? Where he just gets shot as he tries to get in. Let's have a look at center. So on center, I get here at the start, which means I can shoot in from this side into this middle zone. And I get here at the start, which means I can shoot into this side in this middle zone. And you literally have nowhere to hide if you're on the red side here. And I also get to here, so I can shoot into here even more. I get some tall buildings as well, right? And the road network here is completely messed up, because there's no joining thing here. They end up doing some really crazy stuff to get into that zone. Like, they'll come down here and then in that way. And so this is very unfair. On this side, it's a lot more even, but I get a house and they don't. So it's also good for me. Also, they only get one road in, and there's a hill here. So if I get to here, they just can't get back in, because as soon as they crest the hill, I blat them with everybody, right? I get two roads in. So all three zones are better for me than they are for my opponent, if I'm blue-sided, right? So, crazy imbalanced map. Absolutely incredibly imbalanced. It's worse than the one we just covered. It's worse than Isora. So, Valley Duel is going all the way down. So, what's next? Death Row Duel. Wow. So, Death Row Duel is... this was the first map in the game. They went back and changed it a bit to make it worse by removing all the cover, which was nice of them. Anyway, this map's really imbalanced as well. Oh no, actually, they changed it. They changed it to make it less imbalanced. But essentially, this map is very narrow, right? And yeah, there's two middle zones, Boris and Elena. If you're red-sided, you get Dimitri and Fedor. If you're blue-sided, you get Center and Anna. And yeah, basically this side is stronger. Hang on, well, this side used to be stronger. I'd say it's about even now. Essentially, they made Boris bigger so Red can actually get in here and have some of the zone. Boris used to come up to here, right? So it was like, so I got the back of a house, and my opponent got all this. So, yeah. It would be cool to play this map again simply because I haven't played it in a while, but it's not a very fun map to play because the playable area is so narrow. There's just nowhere to go, and there's nowhere to hide. So all the Soviet divs with T-72s, T-80s, they're all super strong on this map because you just get a grad, and then the CV... Right, so let's say I'm on this side, and I've got this, because I get that at the start, and I can see most of the zone from my position. Well, where's his CV is basically always going to be here, or at the back of this, or in here somewhere. So you just get the grad and just blow everything up, really not a fantastic map to play. So I'm going to put that as 13. 13. So what's next? Airport Duel. Airport's been in the game for a reasonably long length of time. I don't really like Airport at all. Uh, Particularly, like, it's very slow. Essentially, this side here was called out the blue side. I've not put an AI in, that's why it's clear, right? But yeah, the blue side is weaker, my side's stronger. Essentially, there's two middle zones, Fedor and Elena, and then I get Emma and Anna, and my opponent gets Boris and Paul. So yeah, what is this, a gay side? So these are all male names, and these are all female names. Anyway, so Anna is basically impossible to attack because of it's just very narrow, right? And like, how are you going to get from here to there? Paul is pretty easy to attack, and it's very wide. And if my side, the red side, gets to here, well, that's it. I've taken the zone, even though I'm only on the edge of it, because this is just a big open field. So it's very, very unfair for the blue side. Similarly, in Elena, you've got a lot of strategic depth here. You can fall back, you can fall back, you can fall back, right? Whereas blue gets Fedor, which you can fall back to here, and that's it. So it's not fair on that front. The one advantage blue has, or two advantages really, is that Emma is easier to attack than Boris. It's actually not too imbalanced a map because of this. Emma is easier to attack than Boris because you go from here to there and into here, and you can forward deployed rush from blue side Elena at the start, whereas I can forward deployed rush Fedor, but the enemy will beat me there if he also has forward deployment. Whereas if we both forward deployed rush Elena, he's going to get into here, super nice position because he sees all my reinforcements coming in, right, and he can get these buildings at the start, and so he can get in there at the start. So it's actually, as far as maps go, it's not too imbalanced. It's not too imbalanced. So I'm going to put it as 12th. And, as we go through the rest of the things, that might rise or fall, right? Actually, if there's 12 maps or 11 maps that we're not going to be playing, then, yeah, I'll just leave it there for now. Okay, we can always come back to it. Next, we have Surrounded Duel. This is another one of the new ones. Now, they've changed this. They've made it so the default ambience is dark, like that Azura one. And that's actually a really big deal, because it's so hard to see otherwise. So, look, it's default night, and I believe in ranked that will be default night as well. I really like this map. I don't understand why some people have a problem with it. I really, really enjoy this map. I also really enjoy thanking the generous channel joiners, generously joining the channel. They get their names on the screen, they get the videos early, they get members exclusive videos. One joiner at the lowest level is worth 2,000 views. So if you're feeling bad about your ad block, it's a great way to support the channel. This is currently my sole source of income, as I'm trying to finish my PhD corrections. Otherwise, please just like the video, it's free. Anyway, I like this map a lot. There's two side zones, Gregory and Anna. I would say it's easier to attack. So basically, on my side, the red side, right, I get Fedor, Center, and Gregory, and then we fight over the middle zone, which for some reason isn't called Center, it's called Dmitri, and Center's back here, but whatever. Whereas if you're on the other side, you get Elena, Boris, and Anna. The thing is, Gregory is a lot easier to defend than Anna is. Because, I mean, okay, so you've got these nice long sight lines here, right? If you've got forward deployment, it's pretty easy to hold either of these zones and just take the enemy's one if the enemy doesn't have it. But generally, I feel like Gregory is a bit easier to hold because you just put a guy there and, well, what? Whereas on Anna's side, like, yeah, you can put guys in here and hold it. It's not too different, but it is a slight difference. Like, in terms of balanced maps, I think this is pretty well balanced, frankly. And then you've got this urban fight. A lot of people don't like it, but the main reason why is because you couldn't see anything. Now that they've changed it to nighttime, the buildings contrast a lot better against the kind of glow-in-the-dark grass, which, okay, whatever. That must just be what things are like in Germany. So yeah, you have this urban fight where you can use your tanks at close range and your BMPs and stuff. You can sort of bring them around the side. You got plenty of angles to shoot. Things like the Metis and the Dragon are actually useful here. Um, Close range infantry AT, you can just like drop some smoke in the middle and sprint through the smoke to take these buildings. I really enjoy this map. I really like this map. So hopefully it gets in, and you can also send stuff around the sides. You can do some flanking action. You can attack Anna. You can attack Gregory. It's cool. And if you take this, then you can swing this all the way around and try and do something behind them. It's fun. It's a really fun map. I like it a lot. Don't see why people have a problem with it. So I prefer it to all of these except Factory Duel because I want to play Factory Duel because we haven't got to play it. Next we've got Loop. I remember Loop. Loop's actually a reasonably one-sided map. The big issue was that they although is it I mean there are ways around it, it just depends how good you are. Where is Loop Duel? It's just not there. I guess it's just Loop. So I want to play Loop again. I'm not seeing Loop in ages. But it is an imbalanced map. It is an imbalanced map, but I'm not seeing it in ages. Basically, if you're on the red side, then... So, 3 middle zones. Elena, Dimitri, and Fedor. And back here, you've got Ivan, Gregory, and Chariton. And blue would have Anna Center and Boris. Okay, so in Fedor, I have a disadvantage because the enemy, because that's the middle of Fedor, right? So they get a whole town, and I get nothing. So that's not very fair. Over on Dimitri, they get this house, which is super useful, as you can see, and I get nothing. And they also get these buildings, which means that they get this bridge at the start. Like, you don't get the bridge, the enemy does. The blue side would get the bridge. So they get the... Crossing the bridge is a pain in the neck. But the point is that they can see this side of the zone, right? And they've got this house. So this is imbalanced towards the blue side. So both side zones are imbalanced towards the blue side. Now, red does have some options. Red actually gets a very nice attack into the town at the start because of this middle spawn here. So they have a middle spawn as well, but I believe it's still on this side of the river. Like, you might be able to put it here or something. Whereas I've got a really nice zoom into the middle. And I get this church at the start. Also, you get a guy up to here, right, at the start. And that's really helpful for taking Fedor later, because you can literally just smoke there and just run from here into there, and then just go back again if you want. And you can attack Fedor from this side. And it's also really helpful for the middle, because you can just shoot into... Because this is a reinforcement road, you can just shoot into there. So it's not actually that imbalanced, because you have a big advantage in the middle zone. The only issue is if you're playing as red, it's kind of predictable what you're going to do, because... Well, you've got your advantage in Elena, and you don't have you've got a disadvantage in Fedor and Dimitri, so the enemy kind of knows you're going to rush the middle. You don't have to, right? Let's say you have forward deployment and your enemy doesn't. Your enemy's like a slow div. Then I could rush Fedor, right? And I could get a foothold in Fedor, start smoking behind, like do some crazy plays. I really like this map. It's nice and big. You've got plenty of room for maneuver. It's also one of the few maps in the game where amphibious actually matters, because you can go from here to here. Wow, incredible. And, similarly on this side, right? So I think that's really cool. So I like this map a lot. I want to see it more than... I really like Loop. Okay. Next is Chemical Duel. Did I not do Azura already? I did. It must have got mixed. Anyway, yeah, I did do Azura. That's the imbalanced one. So what's it doing over here? Weird. Chemical Duel. Chemical Duel I enjoy quite a bit as well. It's another one of these maps where people, like, some people just have a huge problem with this map, and I don't really understand why. And we've not got to play it in ages, right? Because these seasons take more than one season, they take like 6 months. It is kind of imbalanced because if you're on the red side, you just kind of get fucked because Chariton is massive. So the enemy just hides a CV there, or here, or there, or there, or, behind this one, right? And so then they're contesting Chariton, and then you lose on a +1. So yes, it is unfair if you're on the red side, quite a bit. Essentially, yeah, I get two back zones, Anna and Center. My opponent gets Boris and Dimitri. And then there's two middle zones, Gregory and Chariton for me, Elena and Fedor for the enemy. And yeah, this zone being pushed all the way up to here is a total pain in the neck. And this is the other thing that's really weird about this season's thing. So they're like, okay, well, you don't like this map, so we'll take it out of rotation. Okay. And then 6 months later, they haven't changed anything about it. And they're like, so do you want to play that map again? Well, have you fixed it? What? So, yeah, all they had to do was just make this zone stop here. Wow! Map solved! Balanced map. But no, that's a lot less work than just removing it and then hoping you've forgotten 6 months later. So yeah, I mean, uh, I would honestly rather play Isor than this map. So I'll rank it there. Next, we've got Aika. So Aika's a fun one actually. It's one of the newer ones. Played it in some tournaments and stuff. Um, is it in the ranked pool? Yeah, it is. Yeah, it is. Anyway, fun map. So you've got three middle zones: Dimitri, Elena, and Anna. And then back here you've got Fedor and Sensor, and over here you've got Boris and Gregory. I should probably have been launching this with the NATO thing because more of my viewers come from NATO countries, and then they would have the NATO names, like one would be called Ligma or whatever. Anyway, so Anna is usually like nobody fights over here. One side will just go for it and the other side won't. But this tends to be a low intensity fight for whatever reason. Actually, yes, the reason is because the +2s are here. So taking Elena is a big deal because you can threaten the enemy +2. Taking Anna's not such a big deal because it's kind of hard to push into the next one, right? I do believe that this side gets preferential access to Anna, and the enemy gets preferential access to Elena, but I'm not 100% sure on that. It might not be like that. So this is one of the most balanced maps in the game, actually. So yeah, the blue side gets an advantage in Dimitri because they've got all this fallback here. This is a big hill, you see. And so if you get pushed off here, well then you're stuck down here and you can't get back up. Because the enemy just sits here with some infantry. As soon as you come up, they blow you up. You blow up your vehicles, so you got to get the infantry up and try and get in here while he's shooting you from these buildings and so on. Whereas the blue side, you get pushed out of the zone, you fall back to here. If you lose this, obviously you're in a bit of a pickle, but it's obviously a lot easier to hold this than it is to hold this because it's closer to the spawn. Yeah. So blue side gets an advantage in Dimitri. I believe red side gets an advantage in Anna. I've not actually done the timings. And then, you've got fighting for this part, because if you take this, then you can threaten these zones and also the reinforcements of these zones. This hill's got little dips here and here. It's actually one of the best maps in Warno. So over here, this is really cool because the zone is off to the side, but your reinforcements come down here. So you can either try and fight for the zone itself, or you can push down here, because if you get to here, well then the enemy can't get in unless he uses this road, and there's a road over here, right? So this is actually a really good map. This is a really, really good map. So I want to play it. I'll put that third. Then we've got Shandra Duel. Sorry, I'm really what's going on here? Did I just miss this? I must have just missed it. So next we've got Shandra Duel. Shandra Duel. it's not terrible. It's just, I mean, it. Right, so it's a cool wide map. You can do lots of flanks. Just briefly, I get 4 zones, Dimitri, Center, Boris, and Anna, and my opponent gets 4 zones, Jarrett and Gregory, Fedor, and Elena. There's also this town, which is very important to control because it allows you to punch into the zones. And there's a hill here and a hill here. Taking the hills, as in like getting troops into here for me is super important because then I can attack this way or that way. The map is like almost symmetrical as well. There's somebody who thinks that one side's better than the other. I don't even know what side they're talking about. Anyway, and yeah, if the enemy gets infantry into here, then he can attack Boris or Anna. Um, yeah, I think it's okay. I wouldn't say I hate it. I think it's a nice balanced map. It's just there's no middle zone. So what ends up happening, and like this is kind of hard to attack, as is this, unless you rush at the start and get somebody on this hill, and then you can punch either way and whatnot. It tends to just be a sitzkrieg for 40 minutes. Like, I mean, honestly, I've played some games against people on this map, and they literally just sit there for. I was playing against this guy who was playing Div Mob. It was in a tournament, right? And he just sat there for 40 minutes. In the 39th minute, I'd sent like a bunch of guys around here. I was on the other side actually. I'd sent a bunch of guys around here, and I just smoked here and just ran in and took the zone. And then he was like, "Hippie can only win using cheese." And what was his plan? Just sit there for 40 minutes. So anyway, at least I won. So Chandra, it's not so bad, right? I would keep it where it is actually. Um, I prefer Stoneware to Tala. Is this changing every time I... No, okay. Um, Chandra I'd probably have below Tala. Yeah. Um, yeah, Two Lakes Duel. Do we even have to talk about it? So this was the third map they ever made, something like that. This map is so wank. It's just so bad. It's just so bad. I get angry looking at this because it used to be better than it is now. It's honestly mind blowing. So basically, you've got a town and a town. Also, there are 2 lakes, which is what the map's named after. And so these lakes artificially restrict the width of the map. So the only fighting can really take place on this narrow band, right? I mean, so if we look in 3 dimensions, it's more like this, and nothing happens anywhere else. The map's incredibly imbalanced because if you're on the red side, Leonid here is way easier to attack than Anna, Sign, and Paul. So what, you just kind of fucked. And if you're on this side, the blue side, you get into both towns first. And what really pisses me off is that there used to be more trees on this map, and the trees would go from like here to here and here to here, and like here to here. And what that meant was that if you're on the bad side, well, you can use the trees to move up, so they got rid of those. And then this zone used to be bigger. It used to be like that, something like that. And so what you would do is you'd take these out points, and then you'd smoke this, and then you'd put the CV in there. And so they made the zone smaller. I'm so glad he's gone. I'm so glad he's gone. One awful map. All the way to the bottom with you. All the way to the bottom. It's worse than Valley. There's only one map in the game I hate more than Two Lakes Duel. And we'll get to it. So, Isor Chemical Airport, Death Row, Albion Military Base. So, this one's alright, actually. It's a little imber, or at least it was. I don't know, because they've changed some things. But basically, this is one of the newer maps. Hasn't been in ranked, I think. And essentially, I get Anna sent to Boris, my opponent gets Elena, Gregory, Fedor, and then Dmitri is the contested zone. Basically, the blue side here is stronger than the red side because, let's say, I get pushed out of Dmitri, well, then I just have a big open field. My enemy puts 80 gems in and kills me, right? Whereas if I take Dmitri, I have to take all this, right? In Elena, there's more buildings here for my opponent. Also, I'm pretty sure they get to I suppose this side doesn't really matter so much. So it's a little bit imbalanced. But, you know, I get like this point, for example, which can see into their zone. And I'm pretty sure I get that at the start because of the roads. I would love to see this in ranked. Get some more data, do some more playing. Bit of novelty, right? Not seen it in ranked yet. So this is going all the way up. I want to play it more than all of these. So that's rank 5 for me. Uh, it's less balanced than Omen, for example, but I mean I've not been able to play this map that they've made in ranked because you're allowed 55 divisions, but you're only allowed 8 maps. So yeah, crazy. Anyway, Vertigo Duel. Vertigo, Vertigo. This is another one of those maps that just makes me mad whenever I see it. I've played this game too much. Whenever I look at it, I just see what could be rather than what is. I see what had been and what could be. Anyway, so basically the red side is worse than the blue side because Anna. Briefly, Center and Dimitri are here, and then Boris and Anna. Right, so these are contestables at middle zones. Enemy gets Boris and Paul, I get Anna and Ivan. Boris is defended by a massive hill that lets you see everything. Anna isn't. Boris can see the Anna reinforcement road from Boris. Anna can't. And Paul is easier to defend than Ivan. There used to be zones here. So here and here. And we were like, can you put zones here and here? And they were like, yeah, sure. And then they moved this zone to here, and they moved this zone to here. Why are you like this? so they just move the problem around. The problem is obvious, right? Let's say I put my whole soul and being into taking Centra and Dimitri. Okay, now what? There's no zone here to push for. All my opponent has to do is just put one unit there, and maybe one unit there if they really feel like it. And then there's really no... Now I have to come play over here, because this is where all the bloody points are, right? So if you lose Anna, which is way easier to lose than losing Boris, then you got to defend this +2 all game, and you can't really get back in because of the massive open field. If they lose Boris, then they go hide in the, the trees, right? And then they can push from here to here to here. And yeah, it's a very Imber map. It's a very Imber map. The other thing is, right, so if I get units and I start placing them here, they'll come down this road and get shot by this. Whereas I can't shoot that from my side. I can't shoot their reinforcement point. So you've got to manually buy them here and then wait for them to get there and then send them up this way. The only advantage I've got is that if I take middle, which is the middle, right, so both sides have an equal chance of taking it, I can shoot the enemy reinforcements as they come in. If I've got something like a Conquers, I suppose a Milan 2 might be able to hit in time. It depends how slow they're going. So yeah, I don't like this map at all. Where are we? All the way. I think it's not as bad as 2 Lakes Duel, but I definitely rank it near the bottom. Next we have Creed Duel. So do you remember when I said 2 Lakes Duel is my second least favourite map in the game? This one angers me greatly. I'm a very calm person generally, as you know, but this map is so imber. It is unreal how unfair this map is. This is the most unfair map in Warno. There is no map in Warno more unfair than Creeder. I never have a good experience on Creeder. So what's going on, right? We got 3 middle zones, Gregory, Center, Boris, and then some back zones. I get Dimitri and Anna. My opponent gets Fedor and Elena. Okay, so let's have a look at Boris, right? So I get this nice... So this is where the forward deployment meets. So clearly I get all this, right? Get all this, and the forward deployment meets here. Alright. I get this nice fallback position, and my opponent gets... Okay, so he gets more forest hit, but what's this? I get up to here at the start. So I could just put somebody here, and then he can't reinforce for the rest of the game, because I can just shoot them as they come in. Now let's say I don't get somebody there because I'm stupid or whatever. Well, I can just put somebody here, and then what? Like what? I just shoot them as they come in. It's ridiculous. So I get a massive advantage in Boris with the fallback forest, with the overlook because I'm up the hill, and with this position here as well. Massive advantage. Center, middle zone. What do I get? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 buildings, a little bit of forest. What does my opponent get? Nothing. He gets a little dip. So you can put a CV in there. Guess what you can't do? You can't put a CV in there if I take Boris, which I'm going to take because I get it all for free and then I can just shoot in the dip. So, massive disadvantage in blue for Boris. Massive disadvantage in blue for center. Here, Dmitry versus Fedor. Let's say this is the middle. This is where they meet. Okay, so we meet here. Okay, I lose whatever. Enemy's up to here. All right, so how does he get in? Well, he's got to kill the guy in this bush. He's got to kill the guy in this bush, who has a perfect toe 2 line all the way down there. And heaven help you if you're against 9th US and they've got that Hellfire thing here. And you've got to kill all these guys. Then you've got to cross this big open field, and there might be people, there should be people up here as well, because I get this. Shooting at you, right, all the way around. And then, once you've taken all that, well, I'm still shooting at you from here and here, and let's say you take all that, well, I can get back up there really quickly, because, you know, because of the hill here, just pop up and, oh, I take this back, and take that back, and it's so unfair, it's unreal. What happens with Fedor? Okay, so let's say I win the middle fight. I advance 1 tree line to here, uh-oh, I've taken your whole zone. Because I can see your entire reinforcement road past the crossroads. I can shoot all the way past there. So you have to get your guys, unload them here, and walk across. I just have to have 1 ATGM unit there. So unfair. Gregory, is, I don't know. I'd say blue probably has a slightly better time in Gregory because they've got these fallback positions, right? And I have this big gap here. So if blue takes this, then he can hold it reasonably easily. But the rest of the map is incredibly imbalanced. And it's I can't speak. I'm too angry. I'm too angry. So that goes right at the bottom. If there were 80 maps, Credo Duel would be 80th. Right. Where was I? So, Cliff Duel. This is another one of these maps where they actually made it a while ago, and it just wasn't put into ranked because why? Why not? I made this map. You don't get to. It's in the game, but you don't get to try it in ranked for 6 months because because what? Because I want you to play Creed some more times. So this map's really cool, right? So 3 middle zones: Boris, Dmitry, and Fedor. Then there's this area which is kind of open, but it is important. It is important because you know you get up to here. Well, then you can cut parts of Boris, right? And similarly for this. So it is reasonably important to try and control this middle forest here. So it helps a lot in Boris, right? And you can threaten Anna. I wouldn't really go for it, but or threaten Gregory. Like I said, big open field. I wouldn't really go for it. And then yeah, you've got this kind of mixed urban forest open battle, which is cool. You've got this open battle, and there's like high rises and stuff. Really cool map. Really cool map. But you don't get to play it because we must artificially restrict things to help the new players. Here's another 10 divisions. Anyway, is one side stronger than the other? I'd say the red side seems to be a little stronger because, I mean, you know, I get positions like this one where I can just see everything. Like, particularly around here, will I get this, and that's super helpful. My opponent doesn't get much. But I've not really had enough games on it because it's not been in the rank ladder, so I'd like to see this map. I'd like to play this map. So I'm going to put that just below Albion Military Duel because I want to play it. I want to play it. Next is Hessa Duel. Hessa Duel is kind of boring, but it's very balanced. It's just really kind of boring because of the way the zones are made. The map itself's pretty cool, but basically the way the zones work are I get Boris, Emma, Elena, and Nicholas, and my opponent gets Anna, Leonid, and Sign. And the zones are really, really tiny, so they're really hard to take. Like, the zones are all super hard to take. And so it just ends up being a bit of a slog. It's like Shandra Duel, but I'd probably prefer it to Chandra, actually. Like, I wouldn't be mad if this got into the pool. It's just, it just, every game's 40 minutes on this map. There's not much else to say, really. You know, you got a more open side, a more urban side, but trying to take these zones is an absolute nightmare. It basically just becomes a massive grind. But you know, I wouldn't hate it if it ended up in there. So where is it? Where did I leave it? I'd probably rate it above Isura, definitely. I would actually have it above Chandra because I've been playing Chandra a lot recently and it's just kind of boring to me now. So I'd have it as 10th there. Then we've got Mount River Duel. So I wouldn't say I hate this map. It's kind of like the previous. You know, it really upsets me that we only get 12 options because I've already seen more than 12 maps that I want to play next season. I want to play. Honestly, I think it should just be all the maps. You can play as all the divisions. You can bring all of the units, right? You can say all of the swear words. They do ban you for that now, actually. So why can't I play all the maps? And they say you can. You just launch a 1v1 lobby and sit there for 20 minutes, and then people join, see your level, and leave. Anyway, map's okay. I mean, the red side's favourable because I get this nice tall building, this nice tall building, this cool forest so I can shoot down there. They get a little bit to do it back, but not as much. This nice tall building, this nice tall building. This building's cool as well, makes this kind of hard to take. So it is red side favoured. It's just because of the water, the map is deceptively narrow. Because like nothing happens here, right? And nothing really happens here. You can send one unit around the side, and hopefully it doesn't run out of fuel before it gets there, and you can do some zany things. Currently working on a 9th US guide, and I do that in one of the games, and it's very effective. I spot the enemy arty. But yeah, most of the fighting is like here, and it is kind of boring. I wouldn't hate it if it ended up in the ranked pool. It's just it's kind of boring. So I would rate that unironically below Chemical. Urban Frontlines Duel. This map isn't bad. There's one or two people who are really vocal in their criticisms of this map. It's actually a pretty fun map. So basically, it's an urban map, so it's cool for infantry divs that are useless in a lot of other places. But yeah, you've seen it plenty of times. So Elena, Dimitri, Boris, Anna for me. The opponent gets Fedor, Gregory, Charit, and Ivan. And then, like, lame brains end up just fighting over center for 40 minutes, but, you know, from this side, I can punch into Ivan from this way, I can come down here, you can actually attack into Chariton. It's something people don't expect a lot. The roads here are all messed up, so you got to kind of unload here and slowly move in, but you can do it. You know, lots of high rises. The red side is considered a little stronger because it's easier to attack Fedor and Ivan than it is to attack Anna and Elena. Or Boris or whatever, Boris and Anna. It's like Ivan, I basically get here at the start, and so I can see his zone. So the red side is stronger, but in middle, blue has an advantage because they get more high rises. So this are all shooting, whereas you might only have 2 high rises filled. It's easier to arty. But I actually like this map. I think it's one of the more balanced maps, one of the more fun maps. I like the idea behind, you know, street fighting and trying to bring up the tanks without getting them shot. A lot of people see that as tedious, the whole LOS thing. They just want to play on a flat field because it's kind of easy to think about. So, yeah, I think it's alright. I'd rate it above Isura, definitely. Probably above Chandra, actually above Hessa as well. Probably above Tala. 2 ways! Wow. It's a shame this one won't make it into the pool, because this is actually a pretty fun map. Honestly, it's the It's just hilariously imbalanced and they didn't fix it. Yeah. So, pretty funny map. Oh, they have fixed it. They have fixed it. So basically, this side is generally considered the stronger side because you get Dimitri, Boris, and Anna. The opponent gets Gregory, Fedor, and Elena, and then you fight for center. Now the issue is that obviously, so Anna's like a really small zone, and Gregory's flipping massive. So, this zone used to come out to here, and so you could just put a CV in there at the start and you contest it for the whole thing. It is still favoured towards this side, frankly, because they haven't moved the zone back as far as I would have liked, because I get here at the same time as them. I get here way before they get anywhere near here, and then they're in the open and I shoot them, right? Over here, I get the buildings and they don't, and you'll notice this building, it's like you see all the way down there, so pretty useful building. But it's actually not so bad now. I would love to play this again in the ranked pool. I want that variety, you know? I want the variety. So I'm going to rate it up. Definitely above Hessa. Definitely above Urban Frontlines. Omen, I've decided I would rather have below Stoneware. And I'd rather have two ways at rank 8 for me, I think. Yeah, I think that's right. And that leaves last and also least Black Forest Duel, which so frustrating to play this map. Every game's 40 minutes. It's actually not so bad. It's not so imbalanced. It just depends on like certain matchups. You just kind of lose if you end up on one side, whereas if you're on the other side, you'd win. So if what the heck's going on? That's not right. Black Forest Duel, right? Uh, just making sure I got all the right things. So, this map, Boris is a lot easier to attack than Anna. Right, so middle zone, the opponent should basically get center, Boris, and Dimitri, and I should get Anna, Fedor, and Elena. But I can rush Boris at the start. The thing is, so if my Boris rush fails, then I've got Fedor and the opponent's got center. Center is very hard to take because it's a hill, so you just come up the hill and then you immediately start getting shot from all this, and it's nice and open over here, right? So you get up the hill, there's no cover, you're getting shot from everywhere. Fedor is actually pretty easy to contest because the enemy gets these buildings and this, and so they just smoke this corner and sit in it, and you can't get to them because it's a big open field and they've got an ATGM in here. They should have this as well. So most of the games end up about Fedor. It's kind of boring, and it's another 40-minute map. So I'm just going to leave that on the 0. So that's all of them. I was hoping to do this video quickly, but going through 23 maps isn't quick, so that's taken me an hour, so that's nice. In terms of the thing, Factory, I really want to see Factory because we've not seen it yet. Loop, I love Loop. I wish Loop was back in my life. Aika's a great map. No problems with Aika. Surrounded, I really enjoy. Albion, I want to see it. Cliff, I want to see it more than Albion, in fact. Stoneware, I think, is fine. Two Ways, I want to play again. I think that's fun. Omen is good. Urban Frontlines Duel is good. Tala's fine. Hessa's fine. Shandra is kind of boring, so if it falls out of the top 12, I don't really care. Isor is imbalanced. Chemicals imbalanced, although I prefer it to Isura. Do I? No, I don't. Mount River's imbalanced. Airport's imbalanced. Death Row is... Black Forest Duel, not great either. Valley, very, very imbalanced. Vertigo, very imbalanced, but not as bad as Valley. But Valley's newer, which is why it's higher. Although these are all getting 0, right? Two Lakes Duel is just utter abysmal dog shit. And Creeder, just honestly, I'm so angry whenever... If I even see that word, it upsets me. So, you know, you can rank it however you want. Obviously, I'd prefer it if you put Factory and Cliff near the top so that we can actually play some of these maps that they've made that they didn't put into the rank pool for some reason. And yeah, if you enjoy this content, do let me know. I have other things I wanted to do today, and it's just taken an hour. So hopefully this video does well, so I don't regret my decision making. And I wish you a lovely day. So I'm gonna vote now. Remember to vote. Goodbye.